Hello, everyone. I am Kayla Moore. I am the author of Your Path to Songwriting Success, 7 Steps to Becoming a Confident Songwriter. And today we're going to be talking about self-love, loving your body, and just being confident and becoming that confident songwriter that you were meant to be. So today I have the amazing author, Janet Farnsworth. She is a best-selling author, straight out of the author incubator like me. Woohoo! Woohoo! And she has 2 best-selling books. Her first book is called Love Your Body, and her second book is called Your Body is Your Superpower. So Janet, can you tell us all like how you came about to write these books?
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, it's really wonderful to be with you. I just adore you.
Thank you for being here. And I have to tell everyone that you're in Hawaii, which is where I want to be one day. And I'm wearing a lei in honor of Janet being in Hawaii.
I'm deeply honored. Being a very new import to Hawaii, I don't know that I should technically receive such a gesture, but thank you. And you look gorgeous.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. We just love on each other the whole time. And that, by the way, is another really good way to get to self-love. Find someone to love you and love you right. Right?
Nice. Yes.
So there's that. And actually, that's probably not a bad bridge into writing the books. I wrote them because I was completely disconnected from my body and spent the first 30 years of my life not even really knowing I had one. And it was too painful. I'd been assaulted as a child, and it was just get me out of here. And then finally connecting to it, having this like expansive, amazing, like, holy cow, this creativity, this life force. And probably over the last 20 years, refining how, okay, now I'm connected to it, but damn, I don't really like it very much. And I don't like the way it looks. And, increasingly as I've gotten older, I can notice like things that I can't control, the way it feels. But the truth is, I felt the same thread when I was 20 years old and, running up mountains and dancing in New York City.
So it doesn't matter how old you are.
No, it really doesn't. I got to tell you too, Kay, it doesn't matter how you look or who you are either. When I was in New York and I was 15 years old.
New York in the house.
Yeah, thank you. Well, because everybody is there, right? And everybody is looking around at everybody, and it's a very exciting place to be.
Yeah.
But I at that time in my life, I fit the picture of what we were taught to look like, right? And I started to do modeling, and I thought, okay, I'm sort of being what the world tells me I'm supposed to look like, and I was miserable. I thought I was. I don't know how comfortable your viewers are with swearing, but being from New York, I really like to swear.
I'm from New York.
Thank you. So I felt like a piece of shit. I didn't like myself at all. I couldn't even look at myself. And I've gone from being anorexic to obese and everything in between. And,
like, what's your journey? Like, how did you even come to write the book? Like, how did you get to that place of being able to write it for, people that probably went through similar situations?
Right. I wrote it because I woke up in my body. I wrote it because I went from such self-loathing and disconnection to a place of comfort and being able to actually access the joy in my body. And really specifically to what you teach about and what you write about, I found out that my creativity sources from here. Yeah. It's not up here. Yeah. It's not something we can think ourselves into, right? Like your songwriting, your music comes from something that flows through you, that you feel, right? Feel it. It's when you're connected to life force that it's like, oh, then it comes out, right? Yeah. Probably the things now. I was going to say probably the things that have like some of the greatest gold in it are just things that kind of fall out. Doesn't mean you got to not edit and refine. And,
Right.
I look back and some of the things I wrote in my first book, and I'm like, oh my God, there's either a typo or I wish I had said it better in my second book too. And so of course we edit, we refine, but that moment that comes when you're in your creativity,
Yeah, and
that
you're
comes from your
authentic.
body,
Yes,
right?
definitely.
And
Definitely.
and it was in connecting to my body that I found that creative joy.
How did you connect to your body? Was it a sudden thing or was it a gradual thing? And I heard
Yes,
you're a yoga instructor, so I'm
I
sure that had something to do with it, right?
Well, the yoga came after the waking up. And
Oh,
my practice is called Let Love Move You. It's called the practice of now, let love move you. And so it's a movement-based practice because I believe that when you can move
mhm.
organically and authentically, you've now bypassed your ego and your thoughts and
Mhm.
you're sourcing into your creativity.
Wow. Wow.
One of the things that I'm very clear about is love, whatever you want to call divine creativity, your own songwriting genius,
Mhm.
is something that only you can know how it expresses itself ultimately,
Yeah.
right? Like you were inspired to write music and to write songs and to help other people write songs.
Yeah.
I'm inspired when I move, like and to help other people move.
Mhm.
So even when I talk about helping people move and be organic and authentic, it's really important to know at the end of the process, you're going to find your way to feel love move you.
Exactly.
You know, when
Exactly.
you feel like I am online, I am on fire,
Yeah.
right? Like, what is it like when you have that song come out of you? Like, how do you know when you're in that place?
You just feel it. You feel it and it flows and you feel connected and you can't really think it. You can't think about it. It's something that all I can say is it's a feeling. It's a feeling. And even when you've edited your song a million times or whatever, you don't know that it's right until you feel that it's right. And
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yes. And so, I mean, like, well, not, it's that you just said my truth. So I'm glad that they meet because where do you feel? Where do you feel? How do you
Body.
feel? You
You feel it
feel
in your body.
exactly, you
Yeah.
feel in your body,
Mhm.
right? Your
Mhm.
experience of your creativity is in what you feel.
Yeah.
And if you can't feel, you can't source into your creativity.
That is so true.
And for a lot of us, certainly me,
Mhm.
being able to actually feel the entirety of what I do
Mhm.
is like a life's work,
Wow.
right? I mean, can you and I, or whoever's listening, like just sit for a moment and turn your attention to what you feel? Well, my process is it's physical, it's emotional, it's spiritual, it's imaginational. There's a lot of different ways that you do, right?
Yeah.
This is just my particular process of how to refine connecting to what you feel.
Mhm.
But if you consider, like we're sitting here, right? Whoever's listening, in this exact moment, you're probably feeling a lot of different things. Like literally, like how your body is doing. Like I'm feeling, I'm a little, now I'm getting a little warm.
Yeah, I'm a
So I'm
little warm. I have the lights on and stuff, so I'm a little
right,
warm.
right, okay, right. Okay, so that's the first immediate information,
Mhm.
right? But
Yeah.
then it's like, okay, so how are you feeling emotionally?
I'm
Like,
excited.
okay, and
I'm
so like,
excited to have
where
this
do
conversation.
okay, cool. And so, like, where do you feel excited? Like, how do you know that you're excited?
It's in my heart area.
Okay, cool. And so, no, so now we're like off to this the races of just this one feeling of excitement. Oh, you feel it in your heart. What's that look like? What's it smell like? What's it feel like? Because then, if you keep lingering and still hang out in this exact moment, like maybe somewhere out here, you're also thinking about logistics, and that's making you be a little bit aware of what it would feel different like if you're excited because we're like just talking, just like we're lying around on a sleepover excited, like, oh, I'm so excited
Uh-huh.
to talk to you. And so it feels a little bit different,
Right.
right? And so if you can begin to kind of expand your awareness of everything that you're feeling and everything in the way that you are feeling it,
Mhm.
now you're starting to actually feel more of you.
Wow.
right? Because you're this infinite creature
Right.
with like, who's not just now, but the history that you've had and the history that your ancestors have had is actually in your DNA.
Yes.
And then it's the thoughts of like the call you had yesterday and the feeling that somewhere maybe got stuck in your body about what he said. And I can't
Oh
believe
my
he said
goodness.
that.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's like so much. And the more that you like get into that, the more I say you're tapping into your creativity because you're
Wow.
infinite, right?
That's true.
So,
That's very true.
so sorry, I get excited talking about this, and I get all over me.
So, okay, tell me if you agree with me.
Okay,
I'm just going to talk from personal experience.
please, it's the best kind.
So I can tell you that because I wasn't comfortable with my body and myself, and I dealt with some self-esteem issues that people never knew about,
Mm,
I feel like that actually held me back from respecting my own desires and feeling that I'm worth pursuing my desires, as opposed to doing what people think is the right thing to do, and me just going along with what people say, yeah, you should do this, you should do that, but not loving myself the way I should have held me back from pursuing what I personally wanted to pursue.
thank you. I love this share question comment. And so, can I ask if I'm hearing you correctly?
Mhm.
That not loving yourself, not being connected to yourself, made you feel like you weren't actually able to pursue what you want to pursue.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So I love this because actually it's chapter 2 in my second,
We're
no, chapter 4,
really.
whatever. Oh, yeah. Because it's literally starts with embrace your desire.
Mhm.
Because what is your desire? Where does it come from?
Comes
If you
from
don't think
God.
it from, if you don't think it from your head, right?
Mhm.
And you think it from your heart and your gut. Even
Yes.
think about the way we describe, like how do you know what you want? Well, I like, oh, it's like in my gut, or
Yeah.
I want it. So hunger.
A hunger,
And
exactly.
and so that when you embrace your want, you're actually connecting to yourself.
Mhm.
And yourself, in my world, is a divine, creative creature
Yes.
who
I
makes perfect sense,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Everything that you want only wants to get you closer to love.
Yes. And I think that my belief is that we are all expressions of God, and we are all unique, and we are all experiencing life in these bodies and, in our environment as God. I don't know, people might disagree, but
But
that's
I'm sure
that's what
somebody
I
would,
feel.
not me. I do. Yes, yes. And if that's true, everything about you is God.
Yes.
Everything about you is God. And now there's a refinement here because I would say that in addition to the desire to want, you also have the desire to love. And so, like, it's a part of my head over the years kind of went, wait a second, if I'm just wanting all the time, then I'm going to be greedy or selfish. And like, no, no, no. If you're actually really refining your deep want, like listening enough, hanging out enough to know what you really feel,
Mhm.
not what you think you feel or you're supposed to feel, but like really feel all that glorious emotion.
Yeah.
It comes from your genius. And what there's a concept in the Hindu tradition
Mhm.
of the 5 stages of love.
Okay.
And the final stage of love is called Atman, which translates to self-love.
Okay.
Now, so the highest stage of love, which means self-love, is not, and this is a little bit of a subtle thing, it's not ego self-love, it's that you're an infinite love and it's you,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So that's the highest stage of love. That's like what we're all trying to get to when I'm just like hanging out in the perfect state of blissful existence because I'm all love, right?
I have
Haven't
felt
gotten
that
it.
a couple times in life, and that is an amazing place to be. And
Okay.
I yearn for that all the time
So,
now.
so yes. And so, okay, but that's it. So I get all excited here. So here's the thing. What this tradition says in these 5 stages, last one is Atman. Do you know what the first stage, and they literally teach it as a ladder to self-love. Guess what the first stage of love is?
What? Self.
Desire.
Oh.
Kama, Kama. If you ever heard like Kama Sutras,
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
what you long for is what gets you to start to climb the ladder to love.
Okay.
So there's an intelligence there that like, oh, now think about it in a relationship. It's easier to grasp, right?
Mhm.
Like I see this person and I see her radiance or I see his intelligence or I want to be with that, right?
Right.
And so I want, or
Mhm.
I want that person, I am hot for that person. It's like, okay, that compels you forward to get
Yeah.
connected.
Right.
And then the next stage is called Shringara, which is rapturous intimacy. It's
Okay.
like when you have that, oh, I've got
Yeah.
it. Now,
Yeah.
it may be a lover, it may be chocolate cake, but there's a moment
That
when you're
feeling of
like,
wanting to blend with that person's soul.
yes, right. You're like, oh, it's so good. And then it's an ecstatic experience, right?
Yeah.
Well, and then it goes to something called Maitri, which is compassion. Like after you've been together, you've had that rapturous
Mhm.
intimacy. Now you are, I love you, and I'm just going to be kind and support each other, right?
It
Maybe the
sounds
fire's
like a
done.
step down.
Well, there's a lot of philosophy to it because then what comes next is something called devotion,
Okay.
when actually you've given up your ego and now you're like in love with something other than your mind.
Right.
I'm in love with this idea. I'm in love with
Mhm.
this person or this concept, which then ultimately is the union with self. Anyway, that's a lot of philosophy.
I
Like,
like that.
but the idea is
Mhm.
that like what you want brings you to self-love,
Ultimately to self-love. Wow.
because
That is so cool.
in that it's like you
That
get
is
to
really
want,
cool.
you get to want. I
Yes.
mean, I write about that too. Like you get to be hungry.
Yes.
Embrace your hunger.
Right.
Embrace your
Exactly.
desire. Like, what
Exactly.
are you hungry for? Are you hungry to write music? Are you
Mhm.
hungry to serve? Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
follow that. Let
Yeah.
yourself want it. It's
Right. Right.
intelligent,
Right. Exactly.
right?
Exactly. Exactly. And it deserves respect.
It does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when I hear you describe when you felt like you couldn't want something,
Mhm.
and that it felt like it stopped you from
Yeah.
actually getting and being what you want.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering what changed for you.
It was learning how to love myself, being in a place where I feel like I emotionally hit rock bottom and knowing that I'm gonna get better. I have to get better.
Mm,
And that was the driving force to knowing that I need to love myself fully. I didn't even realize I didn't love myself. And then when I realized, didn't I hit rock bottom? I just had to love myself. And I took a lot of different approaches. I know Louise Hay was a big deal for me. I don't know if you've heard of Louise Hay.
of course.
Yes,
Yeah.
and her mirror work and all that kind of stuff. That was a big deal to me. And a lot of other spiritual teachers I came across on that journey. And I so appreciate that whole journey. It's amazing. I almost kind of, I used to regret things and I used to feel like, oh, I wish I didn't go through that. But in hindsight, it was the perfect thing for me to go through, to have this amazing journey, to get where I am today, to be able to teach other people so that maybe they don't have to go through that same thing, or to help them get out of a situation as all the spiritual teachers have helped me get out of that situation. Maybe someone would be drawn to me to help them get out of that as well. So, at the end of the day, it's all good. And there's this just reminds me of a particular song that I know I mentioned it to you. And I mentioned it to someone else, I think, in a previous conversation where I actually came out of the shower one day. I was really down and depressed, and I looked in the mirror and, with tears and crying and all that stuff, snot and all that kind of stuff. And
I had lots of snot, many days of that. Yes.
and all of a sudden, I looked at my body. I didn't necessarily love my body. I compared it to a lot of people when I didn't need to, but I did. And no matter what people told me, in my mind, I wasn't that beautiful, right? So I came out the shower one day crying, all that stuff, and something sang a song through me. I started to sing a song, a part of a song, a chorus with a melody, and it wasn't me. It was something else. And I think it was my guardian angel, my higher self, God, I don't know, but something flowed through me. And the chorus goes, I love those marks. I love your scars. I love you just the way you are. I love your face. Look at your style. I want you here. Please stay a while. And that had me bawling now with more snot because I was like, oh my God, I am so loved. I am so loved. And then, I went on to finish writing that song and allowing that energy to continue to flow through me. And I finished that song, and one day I'm going to definitely put it out there for someone else.
You just did.
I did.
It was magnificent.
Thank you.
That was so beautiful.
Thank you.
And inspiring. And what's so magnificent about that, Kay, is how clearly inspiring it is, how love-filled it is, and how while you say something came through you, your higher power, your guardian angels, your higher self, what is so deeply exciting to me is that it came through you. At that exact moment when you were vulnerable and in tears and in front of the mirror. And I would submit it only could come through you in that moment. And that's part of this magic.
It
is that we can believe in the divine. We can believe in something outside of ourselves. And at the same time, its expression is in the uniqueness of you.
Yes, exactly.
It's you. Right. And if
getting chills.
I'm like crying. I'm like, I guess I was like, snot or tears are going to come out a second ago when you were singing. But it's like, and so to me, this marriage of what we both feel called is like to source that creativity, to be open to that love and that feeling that you had of like, I am so loved, and this gorgeousness is coming out of me, is to available when you are being you. You've got to be here to be able to hear.
Yeah. Oh, that was great.
Thank you. See, you're like making the songwriter.
I like that. Oh my gosh. Maybe that sounds like a song, Janet.
Okay.
We're gonna connect. Yeah.
Okay. But because going back full circle to what we just said about like loving each other, like that's the other way to get back to love, right? Because so here's this moment, like, and this does. Ooh, now I'm gonna cry.
Don't cry. You're gonna make me cry.
Because
crying.
But this is this new age that we're in. This is the new age of like, okay, I am gonna cry. God bless the tears, because it's like no more duality, no more you or me, no
Mhm.
more them or us, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
It's like finally considering that we can actually coexist.
Yeah.
And I'm getting a little shaky. And the magic is that when we do, we actually get closer to love.
Yep.
I never think about myself as a songwriter. I mean, you might still have to work on me a little bit to think about that, right? And it's such a small thing, here and here, but it's
Yeah.
not, because to me,
Yeah.
it's like we just had some experience, however small, however silly,
Mhm.
of the divine,
Yep.
because we're like together, we're sourcing
Exactly.
into ourselves together.
Mhm.
And that was
Exactly.
pretty cool. I feel like I need a
Exactly.
cigarette, but I don't need to smoke.
Me too. I don't even smoke. I think I need
I
one
don't
too.
either.
But
Um,
I wanted to also mention that when you're connected to yourself as a songwriter and you go through this journey, or you go through whatever you go through,
yeah.
it's okay to write about it
Yeah.
and just express it and let other people know what you're going through so that they also feel
God.
connected and not alone. And
Yes.
that's
Yes.
that's huge.
I
And
yes. I would say that in this time that we've been talking, already from my perspective, the richest part, the part that kept me clearest and most attending, was when you were sharing about standing in front of the mirror out of the shower. I was completely present with you. There was no stuck up in evaluation or judgment. I was listening because you were sharing about you. Because what more real thing is there to connect to?
yeah, yeah,
And everything else is mind.
right,
Everything else is like a head game, or
right.
or like I'm angling about, am I better? Am I worse? Am I,
Mhm,
is there something in it for me or not in for me? It's like
mhm,
I'm
mhm.
I'm I'm present with you and you're
Right,
sharing about you,
right, right.
which to
There's so
me is the
much we can
beautiful.
talk about, Janet. Oh my gosh. Like, I don't know if you talk about this kind of stuff in your book because I didn't get a chance to read it yet, and I definitely will.
I will
But
send it to you.
yes, please. But do you talk about age and your body changing and your thoughts about age? And because
Mm,
I talk about age even in my book,
do
because
you?
people think about age when they want to pursue a dream, such as songwriting. They think maybe,
Oh,
I passed that stage or whatever
yeah.
the case is. But I personally believe that it doesn't
Yes.
matter how old you are. I mean, there's
Um,
people who have had more experiences and more wisdom than me that are 20 years younger than me, or people that are way older than me that have like no experiences and don't really know much of anything. So I think age is really irrelevant when it comes to everything. I mean, even how you look, there's people who are way older than me that look so young. And that
mhm,
has a lot to do with, from what I've seen, them not being too stressed out. And
mhm.
people who are younger than me that are way stressed out that look older than me. And it's like, it's all just irrelevant.
I love that you address that, and I love it because I'm guessing biologically you're way younger than I am. And to
I don't
hear,
know. It doesn't
as you,
matter.
no, but that's what's so beautiful about what you say, and I'm so glad that you write about that, because as someone who is biologically getting older and who the world sees as older, um, it's exquisite to me to hear someone that I perceive as being a young person addressing that and taking it like head on. Because, right, what does actually your age have to do with the
Mhm.
moment?
Yeah,
Because if we consider that the moment is where you're sourcing your creativity from, you're not sourcing it from last week. I mean, the
exactly.
experience of last week, but how you're feeling it right now,
You're
just
right.
right now. Like,
Right.
what's your experience of yourself in this exact moment? You ain't
Mhm.
gonna get, you know, to tomorrow. You can't go to the past, right? You've got to be here right now. Right
Exactly.
now doesn't care what age you are.
Right.
One of the things that I write about specifically in the book, it's a reference to Leslie Kaminoff. He's a yoga anatomy teacher. And he says, I think he's actually quoting someone in Krishnamacharya, so it's been passed along.
Mhm.
I heard it first from Kamenov, which is, at the moment before you die, the moment before you die, there's more happening right in your body than is wrong.
Huh.
Think about that. 72 trillion cells in your body are all working functionally to keep you alive and well. And so even when you have congestive heart failure, even when your kidneys are giving out, even when your brain is stopping, you have more in your body that is working for you than isn't. So it's
Wow.
just being in the moment. You're sourcing, or you have the capacity to source into that genius.
Right. Right.
So what does it have to do how long you've been on the planet?
Exactly.
Right? I mean,
Exactly.
I guess you get older, you have more experience, but when you're young, you have the gift of not having experience and not having those things like tell you what you can
Mhm.
and can't do, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And so it's just about the moment,
Yeah.
right?
Definitely.
It's like living in the moment.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. I
That's
love,
what I'm trying to do more and more of, just in general, just be in the moment.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and to go back to what we started talking about, I think living in the moment is challenging.
Mhm.
To really do it, you got to be pretty brave to show up for what the experience of yourself is,
Yep.
let alone what's happening around you. I mean, and this last year, right, has been a particularly hard one to actually be in the
Definitely.
moment of,
Yeah.
right? But to be able to just sit where you are
Mhm. Yeah.
and
Yep.
tolerate what's moving through you,
And
even when it's
accept it.
joy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But to like, ooh, care enough to be connected to yourself. I don't think that's something that we get really taught how to do very well. We live in
Right.
such a society that goes faster, faster,
Mhm.
do more. We're going to reward you for the product,
Yep.
congratulate the degree or the salary increase,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
dress size you went into.
Yeah.
It's like, what about the process getting there? What
Mhm.
about what it's like for you to, to be in the process of writing the song,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah. It's
hard.
all about, yeah, and it's all about the journey. It's not even about the end product at the end of the day. It's really about how you're feeling throughout the whole process, because you could win that award and be happy for like a moment, but all that time you were working, it had
Right?
to mean something to you, you know?
Right.
So
Right.
it's more like you have to focus more on the process and the moments and the journey as
Right.
opposed to the goal. It's like the goal is just something that's gonna let you live life,
Yeah.
continue life.
Yes. Which
Mhm,
to me goes straight to what you were talking about at the beginning of our talk about self-love,
mhm.
right? Getting to self-love to me is like both the result and the process,
Yeah, yeah,
right? Like, wouldn't it be great to get there? Well, practice right now.
right.
Practice right now and find the places where you're not loving yourself, which is what I do,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
Like practice right now knowing where love isn't going,
right.
right? The
Do
thing
you
that you
think
call,
someone can I don't know if maybe you've gotten there. Do you think someone can actually get to a place of total self-acceptance and self-love with every part of their body, every aspect of themselves?
yes. And
Are you there?
I'll tell you, this will make me cry. I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. The self acceptance that I have is a self acceptance that comes from having a clear foundation that whatever it is I am feeling is welcome. That there is no place in me that I am willing to reject,
I love that.
including self doubt, including my fear, including my anger, my hatred.
Oh my
Like,
gosh, I love that.
it's like that is what I think is absolutely available. 100%. And it's a practice.
Mhm.
You got to be willing to be in the moment
Yeah.
and to be connected to this.
Right. That's really great.
Yeah, that is one advantage to being. I'm 54, and having been working this stuff for like 30 years. There are a couple things that come with doing it over and over and over and over again. Like,
That was really, really good. And it reminds me of an experience I had. I'm sure people are probably tired of me talking about this experience, but
I'm not.
it was a turning point in my life where I woke up one day and had this download that I was loved unconditionally, no matter what. And no matter what I was feeling, no matter what I did, no matter what. That's, I think, what a lot of my book is based on as well, is that particular experience. And I don't think I could have gotten to where I am today without that experience of feeling. The only description I can say is God's love. Just waking up one day and feeling complete, overwhelming love of someone that I could say felt like a parent. It felt like a parent. It wasn't like a lover love, It felt like something else.
Mhm.
And it was a download of information making me know that everything is okay. All is well. Life is a game. Some people may disagree with me on that, but that is the information that I felt. It was like, relax, chill out, go out there, do whatever you want to do out there. You're going to be here temporarily. This is just a game. You're going to go back home one day. So relax. You are loved. You are loved unconditionally. You are worthy. And that day, it lasted one day,
Yeah,
but I
that's
never forgot it. I never forgot it. And I tell people that story, and I hope that they can also accept and understand what I feel like I know is the truth.
I love
So
that. That was beautiful.
thank
Thank
you.
you. Just thank you. You just keep saying that, and maybe the day will come back then.
Ah,
But you know what
hope
I
so.
say? But it's funny actually, because I talk about this with my clients, that now that you've had that experience, that gets to be part of your DNA. That gets to be part of your biology. You get to source into that or to redo it. But if you've had the experience, you don't have to worry that you're going to forget it.
Yeah.
Know that that's the beautiful dynamic nature of the self.
Yeah. And I was actually thinking that I probably won't ever have that exact experience again because I already incorporated it into my being.
Right.
So it'll probably feel different, another level of the love or something like that. But that exact experience is already in me. And like I can be upset about things and then take a step back and see the overall picture and remember what I know and just not get as stressed out as most people would get. And I think that's the type of peace and calm that I bring to people when I teach them and when I coach them. And it's just something that I'm sharing that was part of my journey. And I just hope that people can get something from it to, improve their lives.
I love, well, you just improved mine. I feel totally inspired. It's like hey, it's like creativity, love spoke through you, and I'm so happy to hear what it had to say.
Thank
It
you.
helps me,
Thank
and
you.
100%.
So
And I think,
Janet.
oh,
Oh no, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that, but that's to me precisely the part of the gift of what you do with helping songwriters, which is to express that
Mhm.
creativity, right? To
Yeah.
express love. It
Yes.
doesn't matter if it's hard rock or country or whatever it
Doesn't
is.
matter.
It's like there's an expression, there's a putting out
Yeah.
what is in you.
And it's
And
very unique and it's unique to
yes,
you. Yeah.
right? And that when you do, you have the potential to have an impact.
Yes.
You just did. Like you expressed something, and I totally felt moved by it.
Yay.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but I know that you have songwriters listening, so I wanted to say that. Like, please write the music. I need you to. I need you to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was just going to ask you if
Yes.
you have any like final tip or a word of advice to an aspiring songwriter, or maybe someone who's afraid to take that next step because they're not loving themselves too much.
Okay, so I heard two things. The next step, if you're afraid to go forward because you don't think you're good enough, what you're waiting to be good enough at is an idea. What's in you already, your creativity, your yearning to express something, that's the best of you. That's your soul asking to express itself.
Mm-hmm.
And how could that ever be less than?
Yep.
Please. Evaluation and judgment is like a thought exercise. That's just like it's like a beating up something. But what it is that you want to create is so much more than a single thought.
Mm-hmm.
And no one has to listen, no one has to hear. But to rob the experience of it is you're robbing your divinity. You're robbing your soul of its own experience.
Exactly.
Like, even if it's in the quiet of your bedroom, like, it's precious. Your hunger to express or to sing or to write is precious.
Yep.
You know, in terms of practical pieces about how to tolerate, which is what I teach, being in the moment, experiencing yourself, you just start by caring and being interested. Just take a moment and get off the treadmill of evaluation. And all you got to do is be interested.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. That's a big practice.
Yep. That is awesome.
Okay, good.
Awesome.
Because I just want to say more and more.
And I want to listen to more and more, but I'm sure we went past the half an hour I had in my mind.
I'm sure we did too. God knows I have a Jupiter Mercury thing or whatever. I talk too much. Sorry.
No, it's all good because I could talk to you forever and ever.
It's lovely talking with you.
Likewise. Thank you. Thank you so much, Janet, for doing this and having this conversation with me.
Such a joy.
Can you please tell everyone where they can get your book, where they can get your information, your website, all that kind of stuff?
I would love to give whoever is listening a copy of my book so you can now write your music and express yourself in the body that you have right this very second by either just contacting me on my website, which is my name, which I'm assuming is going to be somewhere here on this post. It's janetfarnsworth.com. And you can also find me on Facebook and Instagram. It's just Janet Farnsworth, or you could just look up Love Your Body, which is its own URL, and we can talk that way.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Let me just tell you one more time if you don't know. My website is www.kaylamour.com. That's KAYLAMOUR.com. And you can get all the information about how you can connect with me and how I can possibly help you write that amazing song that is in your heart. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Janet. Aloha, mahalo, and all that good Hawaiian stuff.
Mahalo nui, aloha nui. Very,
nice.
Very love to you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.